right? So you need to stop giving so much attention to the neural pathway that reinforces that thought. So if you keep thinking like, oh, I don't like myself, I don't like myself, then obviously that's what's going to keep showing up. But if you're now practicing overnight affirmations, if you're now focusing on your values and doing things that you love and doing things that fill your cup, your thoughts are naturally going to start changing. You're going to create new neural pathways that align to this new self concept where you love yourself.
Well, hi there, and welcome to a Sit With Me podcast. My name is Solène, and I am your host. And today, on a Sit With Me podcast, we're talking about mindset. We're talking about self-concept. We're talking about thoughts and beliefs, and how your thoughts are actually creating your reality, and your thoughts, your beliefs, and actually your behaviors. And in order to do that, I am welcoming Alicia. Alicia is a mindset coach, a behavior consultant with a bachelor degree in behavioral science. So she's blessing us in this episode with actual golden advice, actionable insight on how to rewire your brain and change your self-concept. She explains to us what is a self-concept, right? And how to positively change it so you can achieve the life of your dream and become the person that you know you can become deep inside and achieve even your wildest dreams. It was a pleasure for me to sit down with her. I am, like, I'm always honored and so happy when someone that I admire accepts to sit down with me. She graciously accepted, and it was such a beautiful, effortless conversation. I have barely no editing to do on the episode because it was so effortless, and she gave so many key insights on things that you can do every day and every night. You'll understand what I'm talking about, and how to become the person of your dream. So anyway, I'm not going to talk any longer. Just know that you are amazing. You are great. You can change your life. You can live the life of your dream. You are that powerful. You can create the life of your dreams. No doubt. Okay. And if you have any doubt, just keep on listening. And I swear that I will convince you of that. So yeah, change your mindset, change your life. And without further ado, please take a seat with Alicia. Hello. Thank you so much for accepting to joining. I'm really honored. Every single time someone says yes, I'm like, yes, I'm really, really happy. And I've been stalking you a little bit on social media, so I'm even more happy that you accepted to be here. So thank you so much, Alicia.
Of course. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for reaching out. I feel like we're going to have a lot of fun and have a lot of good
Yes,
conversations.
because I've wanted to talk about mindset and self-concept, but to someone who knows about it, because I'm just a learner. And then I found you and I was like, that is perfect. I found your Instagram first, and then I found your TikTok, and I was like, that is the perfect person to talk about what I want to talk about, which is mindset and how to change your life, rewire your brain, etc., etc. And I love your background. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. You are in Toronto, though. We are on two different time zones completely. You are in Toronto, am I right?
Yes. Where are you?
I am in Berlin, so it's 8 p.m. And I was like, I wanted to make sure not to be late. That's always that with my guests. I'm like, I'm converting the time. I'm putting an alarm. I'm like, okay, if they are EST, what does that mean? Because we don't really have that here. So, yeah, it's always funny for me to talk to people who are all around the globe. So I wanted to talk to you about mindset and the concept of self-concept, because it's a new concept for me. And you are a mindset coach, a behavioral consultant, and a content creator. And that's from that point of view, I wanted to ask you, first of all, how did you learn about self-concept? Because it's a very new concept to me. Like, do you remember the first time you heard about the concept of self-concept?
I do. However, I feel like I've been like inadvertently practicing self-concept without,
Mm.
giving it that title of self-concept. I was raised by a family of three women that were all significantly older than me, like my mom and two older sisters. So I was lucky enough to be, grandfathered into mindset and positive thinking from an early age. So I do attribute a lot of my, knowledge and abilities to my family that I came from.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. A lot of us are actually practicing self-concept without knowing that we are. So that the first time you heard about it, it makes sense, but you don't realize how much it is actually affecting your life and your reality. And I wanted to ask you, as a mindset coach, can you explain to us how can actually your self-concept change your life and transform your life, or how it is shaping your life, basically, from your perspective?
Yeah, so a self-concept, just to give a definition to it,
Yeah.
is the relationship that you have with yourself. So you're asking me, how does the relationship you have with yourself affect your life? Right? So
Mm,
it affects your life in every single tiny and big way because the way you view yourself is how you're going to view everything around you because you are a reflection of your environment. Your environment is a reflection of you. You know,
hmm.
it's the same thing, right? If you don't believe you can have something in your head, you're never going to see it in your real life. Or if you don't think that something's a possibility, it's not going to happen, right? So your self-concept, the relationship you have with yourself, is number one over anyone, over anything. It's the number one thing that should be at the forefront of your mind, in my opinion, because that is your life.
But would you say, because when I'm hearing that, I'm like, okay, I'm putting myself in the shoes of women, and they might say, well, am I not being selfish then? If I put that at the forefront of my action, am I not forgetting everyone else? Does that make sense?
Makes sense. It's actually the opposite. So you're being selfish if you're not putting yourself first, because
Hmm,
if you're not putting
interesting.
yourself first, yeah, because then you're giving people like a lower quality version of you. Because if you're not filling your cup, then
Wow.
how can you expect to be pouring into someone else? So that's the thing. You have to come first.
Mm,
You have to be at your cup has to be in a good place, right? You need to take care of yourself, follow your values, take care of what you care about, because then that's when you're going to be able to serve and provide for the people that you love the most. Because if you're tired and exhausted, like think about how much you can actually give to someone in that state versus when
yeah.
you worked out, you feel really good, you ate healthy this day, you slept well, you got all your work done and then you have so much energy. Then imagine how much energy you can give to someone else.
Yeah, it's kind of the necessity of every relationship. And actually, you end up, if, when you give out of an empty cup, what I realize is you end up being resentful sometimes because you feel like you're giving so much and you don't get anything back, but it's because you're not necessarily giving from, I don't know, the right place. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And that's when it comes to self concept. I heard the term maybe last year or 2 years ago. It's pretty new, like the term self concept. And I it made sense, but I had a hard time kind of like assessing my self concept. Does that make sense? Kind of like assessing what do I think of myself, because I feel on the surface level we'll say, yeah, I guess I love myself. I guess I'm cool with it, but it goes deeper than that, right?
Of course, yeah, yeah. And it's actually very simple to assess your level and your respect for yourself and your self-concept. So pretty much all you have to look at are your values. So that's why the number one thing we have to look at, what do you care about? What do you value? What fills your cup? And truly what fills your cup,
Can you give
not,
example of
what keeps you.
values?
Yeah, a value can be your health. A value can be connection. It can be community. It can be authenticity, vulnerability. It could be nature, right? It could be beauty, aesthetics. So what do you really
Mm.
love and what really like gets you excited and what makes you feel full?
And you answer all of those questions to figure out kind of what do you how do you see yourself and what is important for you. Well, I remember what I did. I wrote my story. I wrote about myself as if I was talking to as if I was talking about someone else, like third person,
Yeah.
because it was easier for me to be more honest in a way. I was able to be like to realize, okay, maybe I have, I don't know, low self esteem or whatever. Maybe I don't love myself enough, or I'm not, all this stuff. I was able to get that out in a
Yes.
more easier fashion when I was writing it down, writing kind of my story down. And I like that you say you were raised by three women, because I was raised by two women, my mom and my grandmother, also significantly older than me. And I think that it does shape us in a very different way, because we see womanhood in such at least for me, we see womanhood in such a full way. Like I see the real power of woman in such a full way, seeing my mom raising me and my grandmother raising me. How would you say that being raised by three women influenced the woman that you are today and the coach that you are to other women?
Yeah, I feel like it just really fast-tracked my development and my mindset and my life and my sense of self because I didn't have to go through all the lessons that they went through. They just taught it to me and I was young
Mm,
enough to absorb everything because, a child is a
yeah.
sponge. So I just like downloaded all of this wisdom at a young age and then now I get to build on it through my own experiences in my own life.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm so blessed to having been raised by two honest women. And when I mean honest, they were telling me life how it is. For example, my mom and my grandmother never pushed me to have children or etc. because they're like, this is hard work. Like this is, I'm honest. They are honest enough with themselves to be self-aware and be like, I'm not gonna project on you like my own frustration, my own insecurity, or what society expects of you. And I was so blessed to be raised by two women who were, yeah, just giving me like the download of life how it is and being honest and open and truly themselves. And honestly, I was kind of glad to not have that much of a men presence in the house, like that men energy, and that has affected my myself. Now I'm realizing that how that has affected my self concept. And I wanted to talk to you about your background. You have a master in behavioral science. What is that? Can you explain to us what is that?
Yeah, yeah, of course. And again, like I love what you said about everything, right? It is all just, receiving downloads and it is all about, kind of
Yeah.
getting the fast track in life. But yes, so with behavior science, it is the science of human behavior. So it is studied. There is a journal called the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis. So it's very much a science,
Yeah.
right? It technically is under the field of psychology at this point, but they're
Okay.
trying to separate it as its own thing. Yeah.
Why did you choose behavioral science? What made you go towards that?
It kind of fell into my lap, but it just makes so much sense with, my perspective on life and everything because
Yeah.
I truly knew my path in life from a very young age. Like I knew I
Lucky
have to
you.
yeah, I knew I have to help women and highly ambitious
Mm.
women, and I knew I have to, hold the light at the end of the tunnel and remind people of how great they are and what their missions are in this life, right? Really empowering these women and these people too. A lot of my clients are men as well. And then, yeah, so it fell into my lap. So I did my undergrad, I did a double major in family studies and psychology, and then I did a year, I worked as a behavior therapist, where I worked with children with autism, which was very, very beautiful.
Oh.
And then I fell in love with the science, I fell in love with the kids, and then I pursued the 3-year master's degree. I continued in the same field. So yeah, a lot of my background is in working with children with autism and changing behaviors because another thing I found really interesting was the intuitive bond that you can create with a child with autism because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time they're not able to fully express themselves or express themselves at all using
Yeah.
words. So you have to really pick up on who they are as a person, what they're trying to communicate to you through their behaviors, and then building on that, building a relationship solely through that rather than through words. Because a lot of time we put a lot of emphasis on words, right? But we know that 75 or 80% of our communication comes from our physical reactions to things, not our actual words. Like that's what communication truly is, right? Words came much, much later. So I just found this fascinating that we can be communicating telepathically pretty much without having to use words.
Yeah, like what you say, 70% of our communication is done without words. And I feel like also when you see someone, they don't need, sometimes they don't even need to talk to you for you to kind of figure them out or feel them out. And what I love with people on the spectrum, children on the spectrum, is like you said, you can create a bond that is beyond, yeah, that is beyond words. And it's become this magical interaction of we see each other, like we see one another, and you know that I see you and I know that you see me, even though we cannot communicate maybe with words, but we found other ways to yeah, to communicate. And yeah, when I learned that you studied behavioral science, I was like, wow, that sounds so fascinating because it's like the study of life, I guess, the study of yeah, behaviors, and it sounds like fascinating. What did you like most about that? Because I don't know, me, I imagine, like, what kind of classes do you have? I was so curious about what kind of classes, what kind of knowledge did you have in your master?
Yeah, so a lot of it, well, obviously we had like ethics classes, we had
Mm.
classes on assessments, reading research papers, things like that. But kind of a big takeaway was that you can change any behavior, right? And then another takeaway
Ooh.
was that you don't need to know what someone's thinking in order to change their behavior. Because a lot of the time, especially in today's society, and this is controversial, but people say like you have to go to therapy, you have to know like truly where you're at deep down, like to change your behavior, to
Yeah.
change your life. But no, this taught me that our lives, we can, everything is bi-directional. So you could change your behaviors and then get the same results, or you can change your mindset, which is going to change your behaviors and then get the same results.
Interesting.
Right? So you can go either way. That's why having a mindset coach or a coach in general is so important because they don't even need to change your mindset. They just need to change your behaviors and then you just fast track. Right? Because therapy takes years and years and years and years. But you literally physically moving your body and walking to the gym takes 10 minutes.
Yeah, and also therapy can be kind of a vicious circle. We talk about over therapizing. What's the word? There's a word that said that. Anyway, when people become almost addicted to therapy itself, and they keep going after years, after decades. And I saw a TikTok of someone that was like, should there be an end to therapy at some point? Like, should we not stop at some? Shouldn't there be a moment where we're like, okay, I'm done with it? But I did not know that you. So you don't need to know why you think something or what you think. You just need to change your behavior. And you know what? That is fascinating because some people may lose a lot of time trying to figure out why or what,
Yes.
right?
Yes. It's a waste of time.
It's wasting
It
time
can
and
be a waste of
energy.
time. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's really really fascinating. It's again very controversial because therapy is so pushed right now and of
Yeah.
course like I've been to therapy in my past and it did help me with whatever I was going through, but if someone is in therapy, maybe just request a lot of action steps, like request a lot of behavioral
Mm.
action steps, like what can I do to move forward out of this? What can I do to graduate from therapy? Right? Because otherwise you're
Mm.
just creating a narrative in your
Oh,
head and
graduating
then
from
you're
therapy. That's
emphasizing.
interesting. That like the,
Yeah,
to make it more actionable. And so if we talk about actions and self-concept from your point of view and also nourished by your behavioral science background, how can we actionably transform our self-concept and therefore transform our lives?
yeah, really good question.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, my number one blanket requirement, number one blanket statement for changing your self-concept are overnight affirmations. Right? So these are
Hmm.
affirmations that you play while you're asleep. Okay, and then these target your theta state because when you're awake, you're in your alpha and your beta, right? You don't hit your theta when you're awake in your conscious mind. But when you're asleep, you hit a subconscious state, you hit your theta state, and this is when your mind is so open and receptible to new information. So whenever you hear an affirmation, when you're in a theta state, in a subconscious state, it's going to naturally absorb and take it in as a fact, right? It's not going to push it away like it
Oh,
would in
so
the
is it
daytime.
like when I'm awake, the fact that I'm conscious is like a wall or something? I mean, not a wall, but like a barrier. Is
It-
that it?
It's a huge barrier. Yeah,
Okay, and so when I'm asleep in what is in theta? Sorry, I
theta.
don't know the
Yes,
words.
you got it. No, theta.
And when I'm asleep, I'm in theta mode and I can absorb easier. Is that it?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, at certain parts in your sleep cycle, you hit theta, and that's when you will absorb it. Because if you're awake, then your conscious mind is saying, like, no, that's not true, no, that's not true. Even though you're reading a page of
Mm.
affirmations, which of course is helpful over time, but if you want to fast track your self-concept, fast track how you feel about yourself, fast track your behaviors, then just practice overnight affirmations. They're 8-hour long videos. You can find them on YouTube. You can even look up like anxious attachment for overnight affirmations, or you can look up healthy habits overnight affirmations.
That's golden because that's easy. You just put it when you're asleep. And I'm someone who I like to fall asleep with a little background, with a little background
Yes.
TV or, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's actually golden. And you find that on YouTube and you just play that. Yeah, because it's kind of, that's the lowest effort, I guess. And you don't,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's like actively reprogramming your, you know what, I'm gonna look for that. And is there's different affirmations for different yeah, I guess for different type of, and it's just affirmations running on loop.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I've been, promoting these so much that I ended up
Yeah.
creating my own with my own actual like thoughts and affirmations. So if you want like very specific ones, feel free to check out mine on Growth for Girlies. But honestly,
Absolutely.
there's so many, and there's so many different concepts. Like if you're an entrepreneur, there I have
Yeah.
ones for like a business success, or if you want to, better your body, I have ones for physique. So it's possibilities are endless.
But that's for when you're asleep, right? And that's
Yes.
when you have the least, I guess, resistance. But like you say, when you are in a beta state, is that the word beta? When you're awake, when you're
Yeah.
aware, I don't have the vocabulary, I'm so sorry. But when you are
Okay.
aware and
No.
awake and
Oh,
conscious, you
oh.
have all that
Yes.
resistance, right? And
Yes.
how can I, when I'm aware and awake, not kind of ruin all the work that I've done while I was asleep? You know what I mean?
You can't. You can't ruin it. Yeah.
Hmm.
You can't ruin it. Yeah. Yeah. Because naturally you're going to start thinking the thoughts, you're naturally going to start engaging in the behaviors that result from the overnight affirmations in general. Right? I mean, this
Interesting.
is a general conversation, right? If we're talking about, bettering, like getting fit, for
Yeah, let's
example, if
take
we're
an
talking about,
example. Let's just say we're someone wants to be healthier. No,
yes,
or what is something that is a common. Someone wants to love
um,
themselves. Affirmation for self love, and they want to have a higher self esteem. They want to feel better about themselves, and they're listening to affirmations about that. What can they do during the day? Like you were saying, what will happen during the day? You will naturally follow that. Is that it?
you will naturally start to, notice different things in your reality, right? You're naturally gonna notice, oh, I would have actually thought I looked ugly today, but I just didn't think anything when I looked in the mirror. Or I would have
Mm.
noticed that thing about me, but I didn't notice it today. Like that's weird. Or you'll start noticing other people around you will say like, hey, like I like your shoes today. And then
That's
typically
literally
you may not be getting
magic.
compliments. It's magic. Everything is magic. Our lives are magic. Like we're very lucky to be here on Earth as humans. You can
Oh
manipulate
my
your
god, I'm
life
so
and your
glad you're saying
thoughts.
this. Yes, yes.
Yeah, exactly. We're good to go. You can do whatever you want.
That is actually, yeah, and it makes so much sense on a neuroplasticity level because
Yeah.
we can completely rearrange the way our brain works. But I guess it's all about the resistance to the thought, right? And that's where the self concept comes into play. Like, how, if you want to love yourself, how much time did you spend not loving yourself? Does that make sense? Like how
Yeah.
for me it's like the resistance. I guess I'm talking about myself, but the resistance aspect could have been stronger because you spend so much time in self hatred that the moment you try to love yourself more, it's like, but are you sure about that though? Can I really fall in love with myself when I spend so long? It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you answered your question. It's neuroplasticity, right? So you need to stop giving so much attention to the neural pathway that reinforces that thought.
Hmm.
So if you keep thinking like, oh, I don't like myself, I don't like myself, then obviously that's what's going to keep showing up. But if you're now practicing overnight affirmations, if you're now focusing on your values and doing things that you love and doing things that fill your cup, your thoughts are naturally going to start changing. You're going to create new neural pathways that align to this new self concept where you love yourself.
Yeah, that's the overnight affirmation are probably magical. Like I because I truly understand the science. It makes a lot of sense, right? But me, the very like action driven girly that I am, I'm like, okay, but what can I do more? What can I do more during the day? That's always I always want to take more actions and do more. And it's funny because for me, affirmations. First of all, I do forget to do my affirmations. It's just during the day. To be honest, I do other things. I do the EFT tapping. I do the meditation, but
Nice.
it's not that they don't work. I guess they do, but at some point I feel weird to just be like, I am wealthy. I am fantastic. I am amazing. It feels, I don't know. It does not work for me. So probably maybe overnight affirmation would be like the solution. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Would you have other exercises that people can do, or I don't know, during the day? Exercises or thought pattern that people can do during the day
Yeah.
to work on their self concept or to get to know their self concept better, actually.
Yeah, yeah. And then first off, just to touch on the daily affirmations, doing
Yes.
affirmations during the day, just ensuring that they're specific and you can feel them. Because if it says
Mm.
I'm amazing, then okay, what does that even mean? Like obviously I'm
Yeah.
not gonna, absorb that. But if it says like I am so grateful for what I'm so grateful for the family that loves me. I'm so grateful to be loved, or it could be
Okay.
I'm free, because for example, I'm wealthy. Money is the feeling of freedom. So find out what feeling, that result gives you, and
Yeah.
then give yourself that emotion. So instead of saying I'm wealthy, you could say I am free. I feel free. I can do whatever I
Mm.
want. Yeah.
Okay, try to go after the feeling that you want out of the, yeah, out of the emotion. And yeah, oh, sorry, I cut you off, but maybe something, what can be done? Actually, I guess my question is what can be done during the day, or if there's something that can be done during the day to work on your self-concept or to assess your self-concept.
Yeah. It goes back to your values. Like what
Mm.
do you value? What do you care about? Because if you value like tidiness, or if you value like having a clean house, or if you value, taking care of your body, if you value eating healthy, and those are things that you really care about, and those are things that really make you feel good, but you're not doing them, then guess how you're going to be feeling, right?
Yeah.
Your state of mind is a direct
Mm.
reflection of how much of your time you're spending on your values and the things that you truly care about. So what you need to do is take like literally live your day as if you're checking off boxes that align with your values.
Wow. And why do you think it is so hard to do that? Do you think that a lot of people are not doing it? Do you think are not living by their values?
So interestingly enough, currently in the world there's a big divide. So
Mm-hmm.
people are either moving up and really honing in on topics like this and really honing in on, self-growth. And
Yeah.
then there's other people that are, falling more asleep in the sense, and
What
they're
do you mean?
ignoring these things. Kind of just like not even able to comprehend the idea of, not being in a negative mindset. Like they're
Being
in
so
that loop
being in
and
like in the rat race, you mean? Like being in so comfortable with the bad mindset?
yes, like that's all there is to them. Like there's no way of changing there's no, it's all
Mm.
resistance. Like there's no way of like I feel negative and
Mm.
that's it. I'm broke, that's it. Even if you talk to someone that says I'm broke, they'll say like, no, but you have it easy. Like you started a business, or you have it easy, blah blah blah. But like
Mm.
no, like I used to be you. So,
Yeah, so when
anyways,
so
there's a
when you
divide.
come in and you try to talk to them about values, they're like, "Meh, whatever." They don't
Nah,
even.
nah. And you can try, but
Mm.
it just takes a lot more work. And then, like, I personally, that's why my target audience are highly ambitious women,
Yeah.
because those women know what I'm talking about. They're not gonna but push, 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 push. They're gonna say like, okay, I get it. Like, I understand the science. I understand where she's coming from, and that's why, I'll work with her as a coach.
Is this, as a coach, is this what tells you kind of what kind of client you have? People who are like the woman who can talk to you about values, the woman who can hear that, the woman who can do the work. Can you see that in your first meeting with them? Can you hear it? What makes you see that in a client? What makes you believe that they are either on a self growth path or either on a oh I'm asleep path? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense. And I also don't want to knock anyone that's,
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
in
No.
this difficult place.
Yeah.
It's not as easy to, move someone up
Yeah.
if they're not open to being moved up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how do I find someone? Typically, like truly, your vibe attracts your tribe. So, however I'm
Mm.
feeling, whatever vibration I'm on, which is, I take very good care of myself. So I call myself a highly vibrational individual, but
Mm-hmm.
I typically attract people that, understand, or at least are very, very open to learning more about these kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
And also, like a mindset coach is an investment. So if someone reaches out to a mindset coach, like they already have a huge background of like understanding, believing that this is something that will help them and help them grow. So it's fairly simple to attract the right individuals.
And it's interesting that you're saying that because on I like to post a lot of TikToks about life and how to live a better life, how to change your mindset. I'm all about change your mindset, change your life. I believe that 1,100%. I think that it starts with your thoughts and then the reality and your what's outside follows, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes I do, now that you're saying that, I do have comments of people that I'm like, I mean, they're not negative, but you feel they're telling you about their own block, right? It's like, well, it's easier to say, or it's easy to say, or life is not that easy, or comments that you want to say to them. I don't know how to explain it. You want to kind of pop their bubble and be like, but you can choose to be happy. But it feels like it's almost triggering to say to someone, you can actually choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice, right? Or joy or love or success. All of that is a choice. And now I feel like it's almost triggering to say that to people. They're going to be like, how dare you? How dare you telling me that it's my fault if I'm unhappy? But it's like, well,
Yeah. Mhm.
actually, no, maybe not 100% your fault, but you have a role to play into your own happiness. And the for me, I guess that I was open to all of that, but my resistance was internal, where I did not know. How can I explain? I did not know that I could actually rewire my brain. I did not know that my thoughts were powerful enough to create my reality. I believed it, but it's like internally I was like, meh, maybe they can
Mm.
do it, but like I can. I can't. Does that make sense?
You still believe that?
Not anymore, because I'm working on
Yeah.
it. Not
Good.
anymore, because this is
Good for
me
you.
doing the podcast and working on it and being, action driven and believing in myself and going full force in direction of my dreams, etc., etc. But looking back, preparing for that episode, I had to, think about my own self concept, and I was like, the resistance was not that I did not believe in these things. I believe I believe in that for sure, but I did not believe that I was capable of doing
Mhm.
what other people were saying I could. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I said it right. Yeah. So that was more the work for me, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't even have to start with like a huge like life-shifting moment that's gonna get you out of it. Like it can be a very small task. Like for example, I do have like followers. I do have people that follow my content that aren't in the space to be investing in a coach, for example, or
Mm-hmm.
aren't in the space to be really going all in like a lot of my clients did. So for
Mm-hmm.
those people, you don't have to take them from A to Z. You can just take them from A to B, which is, offering them something for free. You can offer them more videos. They can follow you. That's free content. That's actually just, getting their brain kind of
Yeah.
thinking, kind of
Yeah.
going. Because you don't have to get someone all the way there. You can just help them take their next step in their journey.
Because, like you say, you cannot force someone to change. That is something that you learn throughout your life. You cannot make someone,
No.
you cannot force anyone to change. They have to be the change themselves. They have to want to change and then take action and contact you and tell you, like, hey, I actually want to change. But the power of the self concept, the power of but then your behaviors, I guess, your mind and behaviors are shaping your life. That is something that I think is so underestimated, even though we are really woo woo in our generation and we love to talk about it. But I feel like honestly, people underestimate how much your thoughts shape your reality, don't you think?
Of course, your thoughts are everything. Your beliefs are everything, and your thoughts are derived from your beliefs. But yeah, of course, you need to have your beliefs in check and your
Hmm.
behaviors in check, or vice versa.
But going back to what you said about changing your behavior. If I want to change my self concept, I can start by changing my behaviors, right?
Of course, it is your behaviors. Is someone laying in bed all day, not doing anything, eating bad, those are behaviors that are not going to make them love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it is changing your behaviors. It is changing your behaviors, and it is, determining your values and basing your behaviors off of your values.
Basing your behavior, because I'm always trying to think about someone who's on the other side of that, and it's like, for example, I'm laying in bed all day and I eat like crap, because I don't feel like doing anything today, right? I don't, um but it's a vicious circle of like, I eat like crap, I feel like crap, so I don't do nothing, and I don't do nothing, so it's like this vicious circle. And like sometimes we can fall in like this slump, basically. Even you can have good days and bad days. So how can you help? How can you empower a client when they feel in that slump, basically, and they just, this vicious circle? How can you empower someone to get out of it and keep the momentum going?
Yeah, it's truly a choice. right? If someone is listening to this podcast, for example,
Mm-hmm.
that is a big win for them. That shows that they're not, you know, in that cycle fully. Because someone that's in that cycle
Mm.
and will be there for the rest of their lives will not come across content like this, period. Right? So
Okay.
whoever's listening to this, they attracted this content for a reason and they attracted this kind of, you know, this kind of glow or this kind of situation
Mm.
for a reason. Right? And then how do we get someone out of it? Again, there's a million ways to get someone out of a cycle like that, right? So sometimes people have to learn the hard way. They say like the universe will throw a pebble. You don't hear it, they throw a rock. You don't hear it, they throw a boulder. And those are your
Yeah.
lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really depends on how resistant you are to it, which is totally okay.
Mm.
Everyone's resistant to certain things in certain extents, but yeah, you just gotta like at least to start off with knowing what you care about. Like
And I
you're a
guess
human being,
also
you have
really
value.
want it. You also really want it, right? Want a better
Yeah,
life, somewhere deep inside of you. I guess that's the real drive. When I talk to people on the podcast or in real life, there's a difference when you feel that someone just when they just want a better life. And I'm not just talking about being a billionaire. Someone who wants a better life as soon as you just want something for yourself better. That's a drive that not a lot of people have. Even people will send me email and be like, "Oh my god," they will give me a list of their whole history and being like, "Oh my god, I moved back with my parents and I'm looking for a job, etc., etc. Do you think I can really change my life?" And I'm like, the simple fact that you're asking the question, the simple fact
yes,
that you wrote that email, the simple fact thinking that you're thinking with your little beautiful brain
exactly.
that you can have more, that you want to have more. Yes, you will transform your life, right? You that's if you want it, you can have it. That's my thing. If you can see it, you can have it. If you can dream it, you can have it. That's what I'm, trying to absorb as much as I can. And I was wondering, in your clients, because you're working with a wide range of clients, do you see kind of like a recurring pattern or recurring theme that is an obstacle? Like, do you see something that you have to repeat all the time or that you hear all the time repeatedly in your client when you try to get them to work, basically?
Yeah, something actually recently they go through themes
Mm-hmm.
interestingly as I go through themes and seasons, but currently a big struggle of majority of my clients is people pleasing. So that's what we're
Ooh.
working through with a lot of them. Yeah, so they're
Mm-hmm.
just really like they don't realize it, but they're overextending themselves and trying to please others because when you please others,
Mm.
you feel like they're going to give you the validation that you're looking for, but the validation that you're looking for is in yourself, right? So if you have a void within you, you are going to try to fill it with other people
Mm.
immediately, especially if someone goes through a breakup or something dramatic like that. Like they just want other people's energy immediately, right? But that's not gonna fill you up. What you need to do is you need to take your own energy, introspect, look into who you are, get yourself down, get your self concept down, and then you can, emanate that energy and serve others. Because the whole purpose of this life is to serve others. Like that is all our mission to some extent. Whether you're a videographer, whether you work at the bank, like whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a mindset
Yeah.
coach, whatever you are, like it is to serve humanity and expand the consciousness of the universe, right? So it does come down to just looking back at yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you're saying that because I always say to people, you need to step into your light and you need to realize your purpose and your goals, not just for yourself. And pursuing your goals will never be selfish, but because it will help other people on the way by pursuing your dream of building your business. We love to talk about self made, but the amount of people that you will help through your products or to your service on the way, not just people who will buy it, but the people that you will employ, the videographer that you will employ to shoot your promo, the editor that you will call to edit your little videos, all of these people, it's also like you making your dream come true helps the entire world. And that's what we need. And that is how we change the world, basically. And that's how we live in a better world and in a better place. It's by stepping in your light unapologetically, but don't see it as a selfish act. Don't think that, oh, I want to build a business, so I must be a capitalist asshole. No, that's another limiting belief if we talk about it. But stepping into your light, stepping into your power, it is to be of service of others from a good place, but it helps the entire world, and on your path you will help other people make their dream come true, right? Your employees, your colleagues, your coach, the coach that you will, the mindset coach that you will employ, all of these people, they will make their dream come true when you make your dream come true. So I always encourage people, please make your dream come true. Please go after your dreams. It's never selfish. You will make it with people and you will help people on the way. So people pleasing, I guess, I don't know, it gets in the way of people starting their business, I guess, or stepping into the. Do you think that a people pleaser is less inclined to actually start going after their dreams?
Of course,
Yeah.
because they're too busy going after everyone else's dreams to please other people.
Yeah. I have flashback of past people pleasing behavior, so we're just gonna breathe through that. Yeah. How do you recognize people pleasing behaviors? How if someone is an undiagnosed and unaware people pleaser, how would you try to like make the light switch the light on up there and be like, well, if you're doing that, you might be suffering from a people pleasing disease.
Yeah, people that are well, it really is a case by case basis.
Mm-hmm.
Like there can be people that are exhausted physically, right? There could be people that are,
Mm.
I guess, just when you're exhausted in a certain area of your life. So it could be physically because you're driving around and you're picking people up, you're dropping them off, you're going out late, you're just making sure everyone's happy and good with you. It could be financially, right? Your bank account could be breaking because you're spending all your money on your new relationship and you just don't care because you're trying to please them, right? It can be over exhaustion in your emotional state because you
Mm.
didn't do your master's degree and your mom really wanted you to do your master's, so now she's disappointed.
Mm.
So there can be just, I guess, an exhaustion and a disalignment in an area of your life. Like you feel anxious or you feel unfulfilled in an area of your life. That is the people pleasing, right? And then I also wanted to actually touch on what you said before
Mm.
about having a purpose and a mission, because everyone in this life was put on this earth with a mission and a goal and something that they need to be here to accomplish, right? So this is called the ikigai, Ikigai, and that is your
Mm-hmm.
purpose. So if you don't know your purpose, find the ikigai chart. It's free. It's on Google, and just get your purpose down and then work towards it.
What is it? Ikigai. I.
Ikigai. Yes.
And what is that a test or is it a
It's a chart. It's a flow chart. I
okay.
actually have a free one on my website as well if you want to grab the free version.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that link as well if you want it. But yeah, it's just a chart. There's like a 5 or 6 different circles. It's like a giant Venn diagram. And
Okay.
then you look at like different areas, like what you're good at, what people tell you you're good at, how you make money, what you love. So these different circles. And then in the center is your ikigai because it embodies all of that.
Okay, and that's what you need to pursue. Do you feel when people are coming to you, the people that you're working on, do you feel that this is what they're lacking, that ikigai, that they maybe didn't figure out that thing, the
Yes.
purpose at the middle, or
Yes.
is it they
Yes.
don't know how to reach it? You know what I mean?
They just don't know it or they're not working towards it. Because all our fulfillment will come from following our mission. Because if you're following your
Mm.
mission, what you're meant to be here on earth, which is a lot of us and a lot of people listening to this, your mission is likely to elevate the consciousness of humanity. Make people feel better, increase people's vibrational frequency. And then, yeah, so that's a lot of our missions, but sorry, I lost my train of thought. I got
No,
excited.
but actually, I have a follow up
Yeah,
because
sure.
if we have that's the goal, right? I guess the problem is to figure out how each every one of us will do that, will elevate the consciousness, and like what should be the mission, what is my mission in this big thing that we call world. I feel like maybe that's when we get lost. It's like, okay, my mission is to help others. How am I special enough to help others? And we're going back to the self concept of like, what do you believe about yourself, of like, if you don't love yourself enough, if you don't think that you are capable of actually changing the world, which you are, just letting you know, by simply existing you are capable of changing the world and making the world a better place, the work the world, sorry, a better place. Um, but I guess that, yeah, I guess that the issue that people may have is not feeling strong enough or capable enough to change the world, and not knowing how to play their part in this thing. No, don't you think?
Yeah, so those are two separate things actually, and they don't have to go hand in hand,
Oh,
right? The
really?
only reason why I feel like they go hand in hand is because you may be viewing this from that initial perspective of like, why me? Like, what do I have to offer? Like, how can
Mm-hmm.
I change the world? Right? So that's separate. That's like, you know, a little bit of a more negative self-concept versus a mission. A mission is a mission. Everyone has a mission regardless. So it doesn't matter how you feel about a mission. It doesn't matter if you think, I'm going to accomplish it, I'm going to change humanity, or if you think, I don't know about my mission, I don't get it, blah, blah, blah. Everyone has a mission regardless. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
get rid of that. Right? And then how can you find that out? Get your ikigai, get it sorted. It takes 10 minutes, get the chart. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. And then have the
Easy.
guts to do it, though. No?
Yeah, have the guts to do it, and you likely are doing it to some extent in your life anyways. Again, whoever's listening to this is a vibrational match. So you are already working towards it. But this will give you more clarity on what it actually is.
I guess that it's me and my overthinker brain. It's me who want to understand and to know everything, and to like be sure everything, and have the answer to everything before even starting. Right? I'm like, okay, I know the mission. How do I do it? Should I do it? What's the best way to do it? When like it's my very, I don't know, very complex brain who's trying to figure out everything before taking the first step, which is something that it's not the best way when you want to start doing anything. You don't need to have the whole journey, right? The whole plan ahead. You just need to take the first
Yeah.
step.
You will never know the full journey ever. You just got to know the next step. That's it. Just take your next step and then there'll be a light to. So let's say you're walking through a dark forest with a lantern, right? You will never know what's on the other end of that forest. But if you take a step, then you'll see, okay, there I see what's around here now. You take another step, okay, there's more little opportunity. There's a tree there. I could set up. There's a tent there. I could go another step. Oh, there are berries. So you just take a step. Every step you take, you're going to open up your mind more. You're never going to know what's on the other end because whoever is on the other end is the only person that knows that. They can tell you, but you're not going to get there the same way they are.
That's actually a
Right? So,
powerful analogy. That's actually
yeah.
exactly how it works. It's I mean, at least for me, I need to know the whole forest. I need to get a map. I need to see where I'm going, where I was, what is going on, how do we get here, what's up there, what's down there, I need to know everything before taking the next step. But life keeps showing me, no, you'll never know, my dear. You can just, like you said, you can just see there where you're
Yeah.
the very next step. You can never see the full journey. But I don't know how to relieve that pressure, how to stop trying to seek the other end.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you struggle with uncertainty. You don't
Oh,
like not knowing.
big time. But I'm learning. I'm
Yeah,
I'm letting go. I'm letting go so much, Alicia. You have no idea. I am
I
diving.
see.
2024 was like me diving into uncertainty, which led to that podcast, etc., etc. But me, I'm really bad with uncertainty. Uncertainty bring me a level of anxiety and frustration that
Hmm.
is, I don't like uncertainty, because why would I be uncertain when I can just know, right?
But you know what's interesting? You can still take the next step even if you're uncertain. You can take the next step even if you're scared. That's the fun part about, behavior science is just do the
Mm-hmm.
behavior. You're scared, whatever, whatever. Okay, next. I'm still gonna do it. I'm scared, I'm
Mm.
scared. Okay, next. I'm scared, I'm scared. Just walk forward. Keep going.
Do the behavior. That is actually, yeah. Just do the behavior. Just do the
Do the
thing, right?
behavior.
Even if you,
It's separate. Yeah.
it's
Sorry, go
completely
ahead.
separate. Just do what. Just do it, and don't overthinking. Oh my god, because that is something that would have helped me. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Now I trained myself to rethink fear and to react differently when I'm scared. Every time I was scared of doing something, I would do it. If I'm scared of
Mhm.
doing something, if I'm scared of talking to someone, if I'm scared of asking, if I'm scared of, I do it. And I've done that so much that now I'm running towards fear. I'm not talking about like survival. I'm not running in traffic, but like starting this podcast, reaching out to people, saying when I'm in disagreement with someone, or asking for help if I'm outside, asking for I live in a new city, but like asking for, opening my mouth basically. And now that has retrained me to be like, I'm going towards fear now. But that was a conscious effort of me to be like, okay, if I don't want to be scared anymore, and if I want to deal with uncertainty, which I'm not good at all, I'm getting better. Let me retrain.
You're
Let me.
amazing. Just say you're amazing at it. You're great at it. You do it
Well,
all the time.
after retraining, after forcing myself to be like, okay, we're not going to let fear direct our lives. We're going to direct our lives. And I'm going to, if I'm scared of something, it means that I should do it. And now I'm not scared anymore. Now I'm launching my podcast, and I'm having fun with life. And I feel like it's making life so much more enjoyable and joyful. But I still have I think that I'm better with uncertainty, but I still have some, like, my old programming, which I still have some old reflex, right? And when I hear uncertainty, it's like, okay, but should I go in that direction if I'm not even sure that it's gonna work out, right? Should I start this business if I'm not even sure that it's gonna work out, if I'm not even gonna be successful? Because I am also a very ambitious lady, and if I'm not gonna succeed to the level that I want to succeed, should I even start it?
I think I'm always a yes. Like if it feels aligned, like if it's a dream,
Mm-hmm.
if it brings you excitement, you have to always follow what's the most exciting thing.
Yes,
But that's not laying on the couch and drinking like on a Saturday night.
it's true.
That's exciting, quote unquote, in the moment. But what's actually the most exciting thing? Is it being an entrepreneur? Is it being a dancer? Is it being like in really, really amazing shape and then doing all these amazing things? Is it traveling the world? What is the most exciting thing for you? Like what did you dream of as a kid? Those are the things that you should be following because that is your mission and that's why you incarnated here, like on Earth. That's why you're here.
Follow the excitement. Follow what makes you feel alive, what makes you
Yes.
I did that thing where I asked my mom what kind of kid I was, because I don't remember much of my childhood. That's a whole nother conversation, but now we're here. um and I remember asking her, like, what kind of kid I was, like what kind of behavior was I showing as a kid. And she was like, oh my god, if we were in public, if I needed to know where you were, I just needed to do a 360. And if there was just a group of people, a group of adults talking to a kid, I know it was you. Because you were just talking to everyone, asking random questions, having conversations, trying to ask people about their lives and give advice. When you were in, I think you guys call it high school. Yeah, high school. You loved giving advice to your friends about, you loved when they had problems and they came to you, etc., etc. And it's a part of myself that I forgot. Honestly, when she said that to me, I was like, was I? Because over time, I kind of kept to myself, and I became very like into my studies and very self-centered in a way. And it opened my eyes. It reopened that part of myself of like, oh, I was actually that kind of kid, and that was, aliving me, and that was exciting to me. So going back to what you were saying of when you were a kid, what kind of person you were. If you don't remember your dreams when you were a kid, try ask maybe people around you, like, what kind of kid I was, what kind of things were exciting to me. I loved wearing my mother's clothes. I love dressing up. And it's something that I'm like, okay, actually I do love fashion, right? I do enjoy a good dress up, a good outfit. And all of that nurtured my thing of going against fear, because actually it was when I will be done talking at some point, but it was when I realized
No.
that all of these things that I was scared about were actually what was exciting to me. And that is the end of my monologue. You know what I mean? All the
Yeah, like
things
whatever
that I
you're
was afraid
scared.
of, actually,
Yeah, yeah.
afraid of putting myself out there, afraid of expressing myself through fashion, afraid of being seen. It's actually what was actually, it was fear of the excitement that I was feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And please don't apologize for expressing yourself or speaking. Okay. This is very valuable, and I know someone heard that and said like, "Wow, I'm so glad she like continued. I'm so glad I heard like her final moment in that."
Thank
So
you.
don't apologize for that, please. Yeah, of course. But that's exactly it, right? So sometimes as a child, you aren't conditioned a lot by society, but as you get older, typically we'll lose our spark, quote unquote, especially when we're
Yeah.
in teenagers. There's a lot
Yes.
of pressure as a teenager, and then as an adult, you can, rediscover it. You typically in your mid to late 20s, hopefully, or if not later. But it takes a lot longer for a lot of people as well. But yeah,
That's so
that's
true.
really what it is.
No, that's
Yeah,
so
we're
true
gonna.
because even when I look back at photos, when I was a kid, like I said, I love to dress up. Uh, I'm like, how annoying of a kid that is. Can you imagine going to work and then you come back home and your whole room is in disarray and you just have a kid who's walking in your clothes doing a fashion show? Oh my God. But for me, it was the best, the best thing on earth. Um, and so I had that, and then I was wearing very colorful clothing. I had purple glasses, etc. And then I looked back at pictures of my, I'm gonna say, yeah, early 20s, and I kind of lost that, where I was wearing a lot of black, a lot of grays, I was not coming out of the pack. I kind of lost that. I kind of focused myself back on myself, and then late 20s I'm like, you know what, actually there used to be a spark somewhere. Maybe it's time to reignite the spark. But I think that it can be scary for a lot of people, and it can take maybe more time if you are caught into the rat race. Do you see in your clients, do you see a difference early 20s and late 20s in the type of work that they're doing on themselves? Is it more to gain the spark? Is it more to actually know what to do with it? You know what I mean? What do you see a difference mid 20s, late 20s?
Yeah, typically it's the same idea. But of course, like late 20s, they have a little bit more of an idea of like where they want to go. The
Mm.
conversations are a little bit more you know, they're just a little bit more not wouldn't want to say advanced, but I would typically say like a little bit more advanced. Like they're obviously lived a longer life, so they know
Yeah.
more about themselves, right? And then something that I find really fun is clients that are in their like 40s and 50s.
Oh,
Because those people, they know, they're like, this is it, there's no going back. So those guys are like just in it. Like they're just have their eye on the prize. Nothing's gonna stop them. They've lived their life. They've learned a ton of lessons. So they're like, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna do whatever you recommend. And then those people get like such big transformations. Like the people that really like are just eye on the prize, like a bull. Those are the people that get it. Those are the people that change.
yeah, and they have the fire in them of like this certainty of like I'm going, I'm getting it. It's true that it does come with age, because in your early 20s you just want to do everything, and you want to do everything, but you also don't really know how, and there's the hormones and the life, etc., etc. But also, what I feel, it's very important that you mention people in their 40s and their 60s, but there is no age to reinvent yourself. There is no age. We talk about 20s and late 20s, etc. I More and more, thank you to social media, I like the fact that we're talking about there is no age limit to change and to transform and to change your mindset. Because when you talk about you just need to change your behavior, I feel like it makes it so much more accessible, because we have this belief that the more you grow up, the more you're set in stone, your mind is set in stone. But then if you
Yeah.
focus on behaviors, right, there's no age limit, right?
No, no, there's no set in stone. That's not a thing. You can rewire your neural pathways whenever you want, as long as you decide you want to do it. And yeah, like there is a drive in sometimes in older individuals, but also like my 20s clients, they like just want to go. Like they're like myself. They're like you. They're just ready to go. So again, there's no age difference really for individuals that are ready to change. And then the other thing is like life will always be changing. The only constant thing
Hmm.
that you will ever see in life is change. That's it. You're breathing and then there's change. That's all you'll ever see. So
Yeah.
life will always have its ups and downs, right? You'll always experience a high. and then experience a low, and then experience a high, and then experience a low. So that's why I tell people that are going through a low, like going through a very difficult time in their life, I I encourage them and I remind them that like, okay, like as low as it gets, that's how much you're gonna slingshot into the high. So
Mm,
that's the really fun part about life is not taking everything so personally and not, falling into that victim mindset because when you're in that low, like the best thing ever is gonna come. You know all your dreams and wishes are about to
mm.
show up as soon as you get through this hard time.
Yeah,
So it's really exciting.
before the sun, we have this French expression of like before the sun comes, first is like the rain or the storm or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess it's hard to believe that when you are in the storm, but it is true. It is true that before the sun and the rejoicement, things are maybe a little rainy. But again, if you keep your eyes on the prize, and if you are honest enough with yourself to assess what do you think about yourself and what do you believe about yourself and the world and money and success and all of these things. If you are honest enough to do that work, then you are on the right path. Even if you think about doing that work, if you are about doing that work, right? That coupled with you letting go of the fear of uncertainty, and I may be talking to myself, but whatever. If you're just open to do the work and you let go of being fearful of the uncertainty, I feel like it's like this the secret sauce, like the perfect package to go after your biggest dream and transforming your life. But it starts it starts with your mind, and it's really I think it's my lesson of 2023, 2024. Before trying to change your environment, at least for me, I was so focused on changing my environment, but I was not changing myself and my behaviors. Now I'm realizing that.
Mhm.
And so the results were, I was still feeling shitty at the end of the day. Maybe things around me were changing, maybe my bank account was changing, but inside I was not feeling better because my behavior was not in alignment, and I was not in alignment with my values, etc., etc. So um I don't know what I was saying with that, but basically you need to change your mindset first. And as we are closing kind of this beautiful conversation, I wanted to ask you, from your perspective as a mindset coach and with your background as in behavioral science, what would be your top three advice to someone who wants to do the work, to someone who's on, just like on the fence. They're not fully doing the work yet, but they are open to it. You know that they are on the self growth. They are on the way to being awakened, and they want to, maybe with a little fear of uncertainty, maybe with a little fear of failure, but uh, they are there. They just maybe need the little push or the right advice. What would you say to that person, man, woman, 20s, 40s, 50s?
Yeah. Oh, I feel like, especially for this, okay, three things. First, practice overnight affirmations, like non-negotiable. Play them very low volume while you're asleep every single night. Your life will transform. Number two, figure out your values and work towards them every single day. If you value your health, go to the gym. If you value your health, eat a salad, eat something a little bit healthy, okay? If you value authenticity, then be vulnerable. And number three, honestly, hire a mindset coach. Like you will likely need a mindset coach if you're going through this. If you don't know your next steps, if you don't know what to do, a mindset coach will walk you through every single step of the way and they'll hold you accountable to your behaviors. Because how easy is it to
Mm,
say, like, I'm going to start going to the gym on Monday. Monday comes, okay, I'll start Tuesday. Tuesday comes, okay, maybe just next week. No. But if you have a mindset coach that is able to tune in and understand where you're at, based on your behaviors, based on your mind, based on who you are, and also based on their intuition and their level of intuition, then you will see your results. Like it will have to happen because you have someone here that is holding you accountable to your transformation.
absolutely. And something that changed my life was a habit tracker. I did a habit tracker for every single month in 2024. And I have never in my entire life been more consistent with anything since I had, every month. And it's a shitty habit tracker. I took a page out of a notebook. I wrote the dates with a pen. Like, it's not cute. It's not Pinterest cute. I'm not printing it. It's easy. It's stuck to my wall. And being consistent, being and also keeping the promises that you're making to yourself, right? Being accountable to yourself. That's a way to also build self-love, build confidence, because then you're like, oh my God, when I would look at my habit track, I'm like, oh my God, I did go to the gym, or I did meditate, or I did read, or I did, all the, stop eating sugar, whatever was on my habit track for the month. And you feel so much more confident. You feel so much better. And when you talk to a mindset coach, someone who is invested, but also not too invested in your life, you know what I mean? Someone who's an external point of view, who just has your best interest in mind, but without having, I don't know, any personal investment. I don't know how to explain it. This perfect line of like, it's not your family when they want to protect you and you to be okay, but it's still someone who wants the best for you. Ask for help to people, that is important, or follow Alicia, or people in that vibration to keep your mindset going. I realized that I need to follow, it's good for me to follow the right people on social media. I need the motivation. You need to hear it, right? You need to hear it, to be surrounded by it every single day, to keep the momentum going. I'm definitely going to add the overnight track. I'm going to look which one I need right now. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
one every single night. And before we go, because you just made me think about that, because a book that changed my life is James Clear, Atomic Habit. That the book is called
Yeah.
Atomic Habit.
Yes.
Highly, highly, highly would recommend that book. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but if you have books that you would recommend, you can tell me also later, and I will put it in on the description, because you talked about habit. It just made me realize that I love that book. I wanted to mention it. If you have books that you would recommend, do you have them now, or do you?
Yeah, I have one that I'm reading right now. It's phenomenal. First of all, for Atomic Habits, that is all based on behavior science. So when I started reading that book, I was like, oh, I've actually studied all of this.
It's
So,
fantastic.
um, it's amazing.
Habit
It's really good.
stacking or whatever. Oh, life
Yeah.
changing, life changing.
Yeah. So doable. That's the thing
Yeah.
with habits and behavior. So doable. But yes, for books, honestly, anything Joe Dispenza at this point. Joe Dispenza,
Yes.
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, amazing. Becoming Supernatural, amazing. So these are two go-tos. They're a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
scientific,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people need scientific in order to
Yeah.
believe in something.
Yeah.
So those are really great. They're gonna really empower you, really show you that your reality is a reflection of you. You are your reality based on the quantum level that they do all their experiments through. So I really recommend Joe Dispenza.
Yes, and it's crazy that you say that, because right before that we started, I was actually going back to my Joe Dispenza book, because something just clicked in my meditation. There's a moment where he say, "Becoming no one, no, becoming nothing, no one in no time." He has a thing anyway. And I went back to my Joe Dispenza book, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to read that tonight. So actually tonight I'm going to reread the a chapter of Becoming Supernatural. So it's kind of crazy that we're ending the conversation on that. And also, it's very important to read book like that, so you can know, so you can discover that it exists. It opened my mind when I read Joe Dispenza book. I was like, oh my God, to just be aware of your own power and see it backed by science. I know that I needed the science aspect. I'm a very rational, logical girly. I love my science. I need a little science. So yeah,
You
absolutely,
should.
Joe Dispenza. And yeah, sorry I interrupted you.
No, I just said as you should. Like it should be analytical. It should be science based, so you have something to believe in.
I know some people, they go by feeling. Me, I like a little science. I like a little white coat. I like a little study in the footnotes. I like a little backed by doctor, etc., etc. That's just me though. But I sometimes I can be too analytical, but that's just me and my little brain. We need a little science. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for sitting down with me. It was amazing. I love the work that you are doing on social media, on TikTok and on Instagram. I encourage everyone to follow you. Can you tell us where we can find you?
Yes, of course. You can find me at Growth for Girlies on all social media. If you want the overnight affirmations, I have them for free for you guys on youtube.com/at Growth for Girlies. Also, my TikTok and Instagram. There's a lot of free options for you guys. You can get your first step into mindset and your first step into life through me, through my kind of lens of mindset. So if you check out my Instagram, there's a free energy shifting guide there for you guys as well. And I'm so excited to see you there and so excited for your transformation.
Yeah, Me too. I know that everyone who's listening to that is already on the path. You are already on the path, and like she said, you have a mission. You can transform your life. You decide what you want to be, who you want to be, what you want to do, and you have that mission. And I encourage everyone to always step into your light, not just for yourself. It will never be selfish to change the world, because we need a better world, you guys. Like we really do, actually. Like we really do, and we have the power to transform the world. So thank you so much. It was a real pleasure,
You.
and I'm gonna keep going back to your Instagram over and over again every time I need like a little boost. And tonight, in a few hours actually, I'm going to bed and I'm gonna look for a night affirmation. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This was a pleasure, and I love seeing where you're at and everything that you've done and everything that you've gone through. You're really in an amazing place, and you've really stepped up. So anytime you feel like you don't, just know that like you did this, and you have a
Thank
podcast,
you.
and you're doing amazing. Of course. Of course.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you for
gonna
having
end
me.
before I cry. So yeah. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Of course. Of course. Thanks. Enjoy. Bye bye.